they have anything to talk about today. Alex, how about you? Any questions, man?
Oh, I do have a question. I was wondering if you had any advice on how to be as present focused as possible, or like how to pay as close attention to like the present moment as possible. Because I remember last week I had used doubt to try to motivate myself, which you had advised me not to. I didn't know if you had any advice uh, to be as present focused as possible.
All right. So, Jordan, now that we have the recorder on, let me announce that this is Saturday morning call. We've got quite a number of people on it. Wow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 12 looks like on the call. So we can begin talk. By the way, it's Friday evening in the U.S. and we do these calls once a week. Everyone is invited, so long as we don't, let us say, overreach the capabilities of Skype. All right. Jordan, will you re-ask your question?
Sure. Yeah, my question was, I was wondering if you had any advice on how to stay as present focused as possible or pay as close attention to the present moment as possible. Because sometimes I'm not sure what causes me to not be able to do that, but I had found a trick of asking questions, like how is it possible to be um, uh, at peace with every aspect of reality, or ask sort of similar questions to that. But you had mentioned last week that that causes doubt, which is sort of counterproductive to what we're trying to do. But I didn't know if you had any
Right.
advice on how to
Yes.
be as present focused as possible.
All right. We can take that one for a while. Everybody begin to think about a question next after we finish this one. The first thing to say is that the way you're talking is grandiose. You know what I mean by the word grandiose? Anybody?
Grandiose. I think it sort of means like I have high ideals of what should be possible or something like that.
Actually, an easy way to talk about it is exaggeration, over the top, where the top is reality. Okay. And the key words that you're using is as much as possible. Now, that's really part of the culture. You learned that from culture. The teachers at school will use as much, well, get as much of the homework done as possible, that kind of stuff. Right? So the practice is not over the top, the practice is easy. So when you say that you want to have as much awareness as possible, that's actually creating dukkha. Also, because you want something that you don't have, because as long as you're saying as much as possible, there's always more. Exactly the same thing is, have you ever heard about people saying, well, I did the best job I could do. I did the best I could. I gave that up long ago. I never do the best I can do. I always take it easy. I don't even know what my best is. Sometimes the best goes up, sometimes the best goes down, but so long as I'm under the best, I'm okay. But when I'm trying to reach the best, when I'm trying to get as much as possible, that's creating dukkha. So the right way to consider this is that instead of having as much awareness as possible, just remember Right now, I can have enough awareness, just enough to feel safe, just enough safe, secure, just enough secure, comfortable, just comfortable enough. Like Dhammarato right now, he's comfortable, just comfortable enough. He's not as comfortable as Jacuzzi. He's not as comfortable as he could be, but he's comfortable enough. And with that, we can be satisfied enough. But see, when you're saying as much as possible, you're not satisfied with what you've got. So you're in fact creating dukkha. You're creating dissatisfaction by putting in standards, ideals. And the Buddha talked about that. In fact, this is one of the issues in Buddhism that is very rarely mentioned. The Pali word for it is Silabhata Paramasa. And it is a basic fetter. It's the second fetter. And then, in fact, Silabhata Paramasa, the fetter of rites, rules, rituals, supposed tos, as good as possible, the best I can, all of that kind of stuff, actually goes hand in hand with the first fetter, which is personality view, in the sense of I'm doing the best I can. So we go around setting standards and then judging ourselves against those standards. When we take away the standards, there's no me to be judged. So those two fetters work hand in hand together. And when you can remove all of the rites, rules, rituals, supposed tos, laws, ways to do things, the best I can, as much as possible, all of that kind of stuff, then we can relax. And this is what the real practice of the Buddha is all about, is can you see when you make statements like, is this good enough? Or, in fact, I want the best possible. When we see that, we can say, I see that. Let me just relax into the state that I'm in right now. This is good enough. Jordan, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Now I realize I've been trying to be as efficient as possible all the time, but that is maybe not the most skilled way of looking at life.
Yeah, learn to be sloppy. Life is a waste. You were born wasteful. I mean, look at what they did with that afterbirth. They threw it away. And that afterbirth was keeping you alive. What a waste. And then they put you in a coffin when you're dead. Good wood. Why do they do that? What a waste. So from birth to death, we're wasting stuff. And that's okay. Don't worry about wasting your time. The question instead is, are you enjoying your time? Are you enjoying things right now rather than thinking about wasting time? Wasting time actually has the quality of getting things done. And within the context of the Buddha, the only thing that really needs to be done is throwing away that to-do list so that there's nothing to be done. And now we can just enjoy what we're doing. So have some fun at it. So this is the kind of the middle path. We can find a middle path in our doing, in the sense that we don't say, stop doing everything, because if you stop doing everything, you'd stop breathing. That's not advisable. But we need to stop with the unwholesome thoughts and start having wholesome thoughts. For instance, a lot of people have a job and they don't like the job. They don't want to go to work in the morning, but they go anyway. Has that ever happened to you? Do things
Yeah,
that you
that's
don't
definitely
want to
happened a
do?
lot. Yeah, previous jobs especially, I quite disliked, like, even thinking about going to work. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we're not teaching you to not go to work. We're teaching you to stop talking about it as work. And instead, think of it as, well, this is what we're doing right now. Can I enjoy what I'm doing right now? To take the negative aspect out of it, that would be the middle path. So going to work and hating it, that would be one extreme. Hating it enough to where you just quit and do nothing, that's another extreme. But someplace in the middle is that sweet spot where you can just do what you got to do and do it well because you're doing it happily. So that whole point then is that when we get into the state of wanting to do the best we can, there's always that element of, well, this is not good enough. I could do better than that. But in fact, many times it's used, well, I did the best I could, and that follows failure. Rather than, never mind, start again. We'll do it again. We got time. We got nothing but time. And we have a good time. Or are we going to hate our time? Not enjoy what we're doing? So this is where we learn to practice, because it's really difficult to practice the Dhamma when we're at the job, when we're at work, because we call it work. The time that we need to practice is to get away from it all, get into seclusion, and then start watching these thoughts. And the thoughts that you were having then was doing the best I can at it, getting more awareness rather than, let us say, in some cases, you could say that when the mind wanders away, this is a phrase from Goenka, when the mind wanders away, never mind, start again. Now, the way that people practice is when the mind wanders away, they kick themselves in the ass, and then they kick themselves in the ass some more, and they may never even get around to starting again because they're too busy fussing and fighting with themselves over their failures. So the way to handle it is be acceptable to yourself, be friendly with yourself, warts and all. You're already okay. Can you practice being already okay? Gordon, can you practice being already okay? Warts and all.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So I can practice being okay, and I should be looking at whether I'm enjoying myself right now, rather than being the best I can.
Right. You'll never be the best you can because when you are being the best you can still find improvement with that. There's no end to it. The question is, can this be good enough? Are we having enough fun right now? So does anybody have any questions about that? That doesn't really take very long. That's the practice.
I think I've enjoyed getting laid off before.
Yeah, most people hate getting laid off. They says, oh, poor me, I got fired. Oh, poor me, what's going to happen to me? And very few people have the opinion of, hot dog, I don't have to go to work today. Hot dog, I don't have to go do anything today that I don't want to do. And in fact, that's what the monk's life is really all about, is learning to deal with having very little or no responsibilities other than the responsibility to enjoy this moment.
For one time, I get called into the office and she says, I really don't know how to tell you this, but we're going to have to let you go. And she looked at me, she said, why are you smiling so much?
Eric, you're breaking up. Mikey, can you help me with what he was saying?
I wasn't able to hear him either. That was Lars speaking. Eric does have their hand raised, though. Go ahead, Eric. Lars, you may need to reconnect.
Hi. Yeah, Lara, sounds like your device might be low on the battery. Dhammarato, I'm in a very low place right now, and I'd like to be honest about it with you.
What, you mean Dead Sea, or are you talking about Death Valley? Are you in the Mariana Trench? You said a place.
Well, my wife and daughter have been gone for a week. I've been living in isolation, and I kind of lost
Dog,
interest.
that sounds like fun. A lot of seclusion.
Well, I struggled with my self-worth. I was declared disabled some years ago because I have I qualified for disability like 5 times over with untreatable depression, bipolarism, but also I scored very low on in executive function when I insisted on a comprehensive neurological exam, and I just kind of lost interest in doing things. I mean, on the one hand, for a long time, it was liberating for me not to be responsible, not to have a full-time job. I never, I couldn't hold a job when I was a software engineer for many years. But it was hard for me for a number of reasons, including the previously mentioned. So anyway, I'm struggling. And I'm kind of rattling around in my cage. And even though I'm kind of pursuing this, trying to accept myself as I am and my situation as it is and enjoy myself, I'm struggling to enjoy it. And I'm very lonely, and I'm pretty withdrawn and isolated.
Well, those are the thoughts you're having then. Can you see when you have those thoughts, hey, it's okay that I'm alone. Hey, I don't have to do anything that anybody wants me to do. I don't have to respond to anybody. I can just sit here and be okay.
Well, to some degree, I'm able to do that, but at the same time, I think I'm yearning for authentication, external authentication from a society that doesn't accept what I am, and I'm atypical. I'm neurologically atypical, and I'm very much an edge case. I don't fit in, and I'm struggling with being, accepting myself insofar as I don't feel accepted by the society.
I hear all these negative thoughts. Dhammadas, do you fit into society? Does
Not at
society
all.
give you what? How about you, Mikey?
No, but I do get along.
How about you, Jordan?
I can fake it sometimes.
Yeah,
But Dhammarato,
sort of.
may I say that you have us giving you a lot of validation. You've shown yourself to be doing something useful, and we validate you with our attention. Myself, nobody's given me no attention. I mean, I'm a certified attention whore.
All right. So pay attention to yourself. Pay attention to these negative thoughts of I want attention from the outside world. Because the outside world is never going to give you what you want. It's not going to do it.
Yes, yes,
The
I agree with
outside
that.
world is not.
Yes, I'm feeling that.
Well, instead of feeling that, you can say, wait a minute, why can't I? In fact, you don't even have to ask the question, why can't I? Instead, you can say, I can give myself all of the affection and all of the appreciation and all the friendship that is needed. Just enough. Everything is okay, everything is fine, and you do not need to be a star on television. You don't need to be a star in politics. You don't need to be a star on the public musical performances. You don't need to even be appreciated. That you can handle criticism easily. These are the kind of thoughts that you can have. We need to take our practice into seeing these negative thoughts of I'm not good enough, nobody loves me. Another way of talking about it is looking for love in all the wrong places. Where are you going to find love? Inside your own thought process. That's where we find our happiness and joy. You make it up. You've been lying to yourself and making yourself feel bad, talking yourself into feeling bad with these kind of thoughts your whole life. Now it's time to start talking to yourself in happy-go-lucky ways, in the sense of everything is all right. Everything is fine. No problems, no worries. And we have to practice this over and over and over again. I would say something like you need to do it someplace between 100,000 and 1,000,000 times. Why? Because you've been talking yourself into feeling bad somewhere between 10 and 20 million times. If these thoughts come one after another, I'm not good enough, I'm on disability. Hey man, disability is great. In fact, I've got several students who come to Thailand and become monks, and their life is secure. They've got more money than they need. They become rich and wealthy because they're getting $1,000 a month or so, and that's a whole lot more than anybody needs. And so they can support a whole bunch of people on the disability. Make friends with other people only after you can make friends with yourself. It's really hard to be friends with other people when you can't even be friends with yourself. So the whole process of the Dhamma is to see these unwholesome, unfriendly thoughts that you have about yourself, about you not being good enough and you can't. We all play the game of, I think his name is Rodney Dangerfield. Have you ever heard of Rodney Dangerfield?
Yeah, same as him. I don't get no respect.
Yeah, that's right. You won't get no respect. Well, guess what? The only respect you're ever going to get is the respect that you give yourself. And what respect do you need to give yourself? I'm okay. I'm good enough. I'm still alive. I'm still breathing. Isn't that good enough?
I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
Yeah, then you don't have to have people like you. In fact, if you don't like yourself, you're absolutely probably going to be unlikable to other people too. Especially since they're already unlikable to themselves, so they're unlikable back to you. So here you have a whole bunch of people, all of them unlovable, not able to love and not able to like each other because they don't, any of them, like themselves. And they're all looking for love on the outside, and nobody's giving it back because nobody's got any to give.
Well, that's another thing I'd like to mention. I think, here, especially in the U.S., but arguably everywhere, we have this transactional nature of our culture, and I reject
That's
that. But I
capitalism
feel like
for you.
that's right, and so I think to some degree my isolation is because I've really withdrawn from that whole cycle of it's all about spending money and making money And if you're not spending or making money, like here in the US especially, you're just on, not on the playing field. So that's what I'm living
Yeah,
with.
but guess what? The playing field is not the right place to be. In the bleachers is not the right place to be. In the audience is not the right place to be. In this stadium is not the right place to be. Go take a hike. Go to the woods, go to the forest, go to an empty hut, go to the foot of a tree, go to a pile of straw, especially the empty hut, and sit down and start looking at your thoughts. In the sutras talks about bring mindfulness to the fore. And when you can begin to see that all of these negative thoughts about, oh, poor me, is not really helping you to feel good. Oh, poor me, nobody loves me. Oh, poor me, I'm on disability. Oh, poor me, I'm a broken player on the playing field. Get off the playing field. Oh, poor me, I'm not a good enough audience attender for watching the game. Well, get out of the stadium. Go someplace and sit down and get your mind back together. Getting your mind back together is, in fact, part of the Eightfold Noble Path. Did you know that? Micah, did you know getting your mind together is part of the Eightfold Noble Path? Yeah. It's called Sama Area Samadhi. In that sense, Samadhi means having your mind organized and unified. Where most people are at war with themselves. And how do they do that? They have rules and ways to do things, the Sila Bhatta Paramasa, and they set themselves to have standards. Oh, you're supposed to have a job. Oh, you're not supposed to be on disability. Oh, you're not supposed to feel lonely. Loneliness is just another word for I don't like what's happening right now. Being alone is great. Ben, you got your hand up.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I've been through similar feelings, nowhere near as heavy, but sort of similar feelings after a breakup. And I find that after doing like Anapanasati and getting really calm, I know it's not standard practice, but I sort of give myself a hug while I'm still doing Anapanasati and tell myself, like, I'll always be there to appreciate me. I'm always here to love me. I'm always here to look after me. Like, I don't need anybody else. Like, I've got me. And that helps me a little bit.
Okay. Another way of looking at it, which could go just a little further, I hear a lot of I's, me's, and mine's in there. Maybe to take it away from that and say it in the sense of this is nice. Give reality its due. This is nice. Everything is okay. Everything is just fine. That everything, by the way, is reality. So start to pay attention to reality. Reality is there to support you. Reality has actually just been there all along, and humans have adapted themselves to live quite comfortably in reality when they allow themselves to. But our culture does not. Our culture is transactional. Our culture is capitalist. Our culture is money and greed. Our culture is everybody wants something from everybody else, and nobody's got really what is wanted. While we may have tons of money, what we don't have is joy. What we don't have is a sense of satisfaction that we've got enough. The reality is good enough. We have a sense of everything is all right. This is the way to practice, is everything is all right, everything is fine. thoughts of the self, thoughts of selfishness, actually is a form of dukkha. So the way to practice is to practice everything is fine, not a worry in the world. Everything is okay. Everything is fine. One person just recently commented that she wants to be everything. My answer to that is no, everything already exists. It's called reality. The trick is to be nothing. To be nothing as part of reality. That way, there's nothing to it. Things are easy. When you're trying to be everything, you're back into that struggle again of matching up and being the best, doing the best you can, having everything like that. And the answer to that is just give up on that. Whatever, how far you've traveled is already good enough. You've already accomplished probably way more than you needed to accomplish. So the time now is to take a rest. Enjoy the fruits of your labor, ere how small they are. It's good enough. With your own disability, that's marvelous. If you don't have a job, that's even better. That way you can just hang out and enjoy your life, do what you like to do. I don't have a job, but I like to talk to people. So I have these calls. Everything is just fine. If you're enjoying this call, then everything is just fine. No place to go and nothing to do, and everything is just fine.
Well, let me play devil's advocate for a moment. I don't, someone has to be responsible. Someone has to provide. Someone has to take.
There are 7 billion people out there to do it for you.
All right, so this is a privilege, but not 7 billion people can take this privilege of relaxing and just not being responsible. If we didn't have those people being responsible for us, the system would collapse.
Actually, that's not true. And in fact, if you become responsible and have to take care of everything because you don't think anybody else is going to, then it's you that's going to collapse. The world has already got way too many do-gooders, way too many helpers. Here's a story for you. There was a village that was on the side of a hill, and one of the farmers unhooked his horse to the wagon, and the wagon rolled down to the creek. And he started yelling for help, and all the villagers came out to help him get the wagon out of the creek. And everybody put their hand on the wagon. Some of them had to push through to get their hand on it because there were so many people around. And everybody started pushing that wagon. You know what happened to the wagon? It collapsed. Everybody was pushing it the way they wanted to push it. That wagon doesn't need to have so many people pushing on it. That's American politics, by the way, is everybody's pushing one way or the other. And that's why things are collapsing in the sense of people are angry, uptight, feeling bad, and all of that. And the best thing to do is just forget about the politics, forget about the world. The world is going to take care of itself. And when I say the world, we can think of it in 3 different ways. One is the planet Earth. The planet Earth is just fine. In fact, the planet Earth would be a whole lot better off without humans. Humans are quite a skin rash on the planet Earth. The second world is the general society with all of the billions of people in it and all of that kind of stuff. Every one of them is pushing in their own way, pushing in his own direction. trying to fix something that's not broken, making a mess of it all. And then the third world is the one that you want to start paying attention to closely. And that is your immediate surroundings. As far as you can see, as far as you can hear, is the extent of your world. If you can't see it, it's out of your world. So the people that you want to communicate with are the ones that are in your world. Now, we can see that the web and internet and all of that has extended it to a bit so that all of you guys are in each other's world right now. But when you turn the internet off, you're gone out of this world. So instead of saying, I got to fix the world, in the sense of you got to fix the planet Earth, because planet Earth doesn't need your help. Or fix the world in the sense of fixing our society, guess what? You're going to have a lot of opposition no matter which position you take. And then you can think of your world as the people around you. Be friends with them. And the person that's always in your world is you. So be friends with yourself. Charity begins at home. Begin to take care of yourself and love yourself and take care of yourself in the sense of everything is fine, everything is all right, and not a worry in the world. And let the society do what the society is going to do. The only thing that you can do in society is get beat up, knocked around, not getting what you want from society. Place to get what you need is by manufacturing it for yourself with that, let us say, marvelous manufacturing facility between your ears. Start manufacturing some good, wholesome thoughts. Start manufacturing some good, wholesome views. Start having a right, good, wholesome attitude. Begin to feel the way that you want to feel. Begin to feel like your body is relaxed and everything is fine. This is the way to practice. So, devil's advocate and all of that, you don't need them. You, in fact, are your own devil. You want to fix the world where, in fact, the world really isn't broken. That's just a general attitude. Society is the way that society is. Ivan, do you have anything to say?
Not much. I really like the facing the world kind of. I mean, growing up, everyone always had this message of, you have a responsibility to do this or do that. But sometimes that weight of responsibility actually drives you crazy. And, it's like my inner world is disturbed. My inner world is not in equanimity. How can I fix what's outside when everything inside is going mumbo jumbo? So I think that's a really good reminder. I really need to hear that.
Yes, everything is already okay. Currently, a number of us are working on a website, most specifically Mikey and myself. And whenever I see that I've done something that looks really good on the computer screen, but now it's broken on the mobile, there's no reason to feel bad. We can say, hot dog, let me go fix that too. I know just what to do. I can undo what I did. There's no reason to become frustrated because you created a new error. That's just a learning experience. Can you begin to live your whole life like that, to where you're enjoying what you're doing, even when what you're doing is screwing up? It's all right. Go play with it. There's no reason to feel bad because you messed up. And in fact, the mess is because you've got standards about the way that it's supposed to be. So be very careful about the rules and the standards that you keep. And in fact, I would recommend to have only one main rule. What is the one main rule, Mikey?
Don't worry, be happy.
All right.
Take it easy.
That's all right. Yes. Dukkha, dukkha nirodha. Don't worry, be happy. So when what you're doing gets messed up, the important thing is to be happy while you're unmessing it. If you've got a choice between fixing it and being unhappy while you're fixing it, then that's breaking your own rule. Your rule is to enjoy what you're doing, even if it takes 3 times as long. Enjoy what you're doing. Enjoy your life. Take a break. This is the way to live your life. Don't see anything as important other than one thing. What's the one important thing, Dhammadas? What's the only thing that's important?
Our next breath.
All right, that's it. That's the only thing that's that's the only thing that's important. Because if you don't take that next breath, what could possibly be important? Taking your next breath. That's the only thing that's important. And if you're taking that next breath, you're alive. If you're dead, what's important? Nothing. So in fact, that's the way to do the world, is to be dead to the world. Nothing's important out there. Yeah, that check is going to come in. If the Social Security, if the disability checks don't come in, guess what? Thousands of people are going to be all over the Social Security Administration. You don't have to do anything. If they need you to sign a form, you can sign that form happily and mail it in to them, and everything is hunky-dory. So don't see anything as a problem. Nothing is an issue other than, can I happily take this next breath? Mindfully take this next breath. Taking all of those thoughts, all of those worries, all of those disappointments, and all of that stuff that you want from society that you're not going to get from society, and start giving it to yourself. Everything is all right. Everything is fine. Oh, what a relief it is. Oh, what a marvelous relief it is. Beautiful reality. We all live in a paradise. So does anybody else have anything to say? Jordan, are you good?
Oh yeah, I'm good. I like that advice because I feel like I'm quite good at enjoying myself. When I just want to enjoy myself, it's quite easy. So that seems like easy advice I can follow.
How about you, Ben?
I was just gonna, I suppose in sort of normal everyday life, like we still have decisions to make. We still have a responsibility to ourselves. Like we still need some level of money in order to have housing and food and clothing, etc. Like, but I think it's just however you get it. Try and be happy doing whatever be happy doing whatever you're doing, and try and not see the decisions as being that important. Like you do this job or you do that job, you live here or you live there. Like either way, you're okay. Like you can still make decisions and have responsibilities, but be happy while you do it.
Mm-hmm. That's right. In some cases, I've heard that some philosophers and YouTube psychiatrists and whatnot will say, if you don't enjoy the job that you've got, then go find a job that you like to do. Well, the finding of the job that you like to do may not be enjoyable at all. And then we're afraid and whatnot. The right way to practice would be is to get your mind straightened out right now. Keep practicing keeping it straightened out right now, and then go do what you're going to do. If you've got a job that you don't enjoy doing, practice enjoying doing what you are doing when you're doing nothing, and then take that joy to whatever job that you've got. And in fact, the likelihood is that if you take a new job, you're probably not going to be good at it. I mean, you have day one is excitement, but next week and next month, we feel like that we're inadequate, we don't know it. And so we're back into dukkha again. The right way to practice is get our mind together. Get our samadhi mind together. Get our mind unified into a joyful, happy, peaceful state. And then you can go do anything that you want to do and do it happily. You can even change a tire on your car. You got a flat tire, can you change the tire happily? Or are you going to fuss and fume and fight because you don't like changing the tire? Up to you. You have a choice of either going to do it or not. Now you're beginning to see that you've got a choice about how you feel about it. You actually have the ability to feel the way that you want to feel when you practice. And in fact, we practiced the way that we feel when we were little kids. We didn't have much choice way back then. And so we felt the way that we wanted to feel, like playing with our toys. And then mom says, get up and put your clothes on. And we don't like to do that because we have to change from playing with our toys. And so we actually get in the habit of feeling bad about what we're doing. Then we're told to go to school. Well, the first day of school may be exciting. But going to school day after day after day, almost all the kids don't like going to school. Maybe recess, maybe when we're being a bully in the hall, but going to school in general, we don't like it. And so we grow up doing jobs that we don't like. Really, it's not an issue of the job, it's an issue of our attitude. Can you begin to change your attitude from the attitude of I'll do it, but I don't like it, into the attitude of hot dog, I'm enjoying myself, I can enjoy doing that too. So, Dhammarato, do you have anything to say?
Just thank you, and good seeing everybody.
Jordan, do you have any final comments?
Oh, no. No comments from me. I'm just practicing, enjoying.
Yes, enjoy. Practice enjoying, because you've been practicing being not good enough. You've been practicing not getting what you need from society. Now it's time to practice. Everything's fine. All right. Everything is fine. Not a worry in the world. Anybody else got anything to say?
Yeah. I think because Eric came on here and clearly he's in the lowest place. The thing is that obviously the attitude that he's constraining himself with is what's limiting him from being happy. And there is no magical other. There's no magical other person. There is not a woman, a man, or a friend, or anything that's
or a check
ever
from
going,
the government,
or the money, or anything, or going back to work, or it's just you got to choose for yourself, and that's it. And then we get into the habit of I'm bipolar, by the way. I'm bipolar type 2. So I know what that's like. You got to take the
Sometimes
lithium.
I'm all over
the
place. I've got so many poles. I mean, you couldn't touch me with a 10-foot pole.
And while I feel like the diagnosis is important, because sometimes you got to be medicated. If you hold on to I'm bipolar, I can't do this or that, or I got anxiety and I can't do anything and fucking nobody loves me or anything like that, then that's just, it's the same thing that's being done. You're going to get the same result. And whenever you meet somebody that's relaxed, that's interested in you, that's interested in themselves, that has their own things going on and loves other people, what a great and amazing person to be around, right? So I think.
Mhm. Well, one of the things about, let us say, medication, especially mental medication, like Ritalin and lithium and all of that kind of stuff, all the way back to Thorazine, Navane, all the old ones, the dopamine, no, dopamine's not a pill. Depakote, that's the one I'm thinking about. All of those chemicals that affect the brain are trying to affect the brain positively in the midst of all of those unwholesome thoughts that people are having. If people would have happy, wholesome thoughts, that would get all the serotonin and all the dopamine and all of the chemicals that you need without taking the pill. But in fact, the psychiatrists who dispense that medicine are just doing so because they're lazy. If they would practice correctly, then they could see that correct practice is the best medicine. And in fact, I'm a big fan of the Reader's Digest. Instead of being a DR, a doctor, I'm an RD. Why? Because they every month had an article saying that laughter is the best medicine. And being joyful, being laughter, having a good time is better than lithium carbonate or any of those other drugs. If you're happy, you're better off. Now, I'm not saying don't take any of those drugs. I'm saying whatever prescription drugs that you're taking, go add a new drug to it. What is that? Laughter, joy, being okay the way things are. Practice that. That's the way to practice, being okay. Anybody else an RD?
Oh yeah. So think about loneliness. Sometimes if I ever go way out in the deep woods, and it's at night, it's very desolate, and I feel kind of like I don't really enjoy it, and I feel like there's somebody there, spirits or maybe some wild animals, and then
There are squirrels, there are rats, there are cats, there are wolves sometimes. You're not alone. There are grubs, there are grasshoppers, there's butterflies, all kinds of animals out in the wilderness. And guess what? They're not unhappy. You're the only one that's out unhappy.
they don't have a human mind because the human mind can imagine a lot of
It's not a
things.
matter of having a human mind, it's what's been stuffed into that human mind by the society that you're living in. So when you go to the woods, the only society that you have out there is the society that you brought with you. That's why it's good to go out into the woods and take that then society that you brought with you out of your mind. Don't think about the world. Think about how nice it is out here in the woods. It's a paradise until you start judging it. That's what happened to Adam and Eve. They ate of the fruit of knowledge of good and evil. What does that mean? They had to put up with themselves judging their paradise, and by doing so, they destroyed the paradise. Reality is actually already good enough, just as it is. The question is, can you learn to appreciate reality the way that it is? Everything's fine, everything's good enough. This is a paradise. And people who can take those medications still don't have that attitude. They have an attitude of maybe this medicine will help. In fact, one of the issues about those medications is the placebo effect. What is that? If the person thinks that that medicine is going to be good for them, then it will be. Why? Because they've already changed their attitude. Oh, I'm going to get better because I've gotten these pills from the doctor. That may not last. They'll stop thinking about taking the pills and just start taking the pills. And now they're not putting that positive spin on life. So if you're going to take pills, go ahead and take the pills, but have a positive attitude about those pills. Wow, this lithium carbonate, that's going to make me feel just so relaxed and comfortable, and everything is all right, and no place to go, and nothing to do. These are the kind of thoughts that we have to practice having. So, does anybody else have anything to say?
No, just something really quick. I realized something that has been working so well for me was every time I start feeling stressed, I just tell myself, like, job's already done. It's time to relax. And it's like my mind just let go. I'm just saying that because something you said early on. I just want to say that.
Okay. Just relax. Whenever we get uptight, we can say, aha, I see that uptightness, aha. It's okay that I'm uptight. Let me loosen up while I'm uptight. Everything is okay, no problems, no worries. So, anybody else got anything? All right, Mikey, why don't you finish this off?
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. It's great to see everyone's faces. Even when we don't have questions, it's a pleasure to delight in hearing the Dhamma. And speaking of sharing and hearing the Dhamma, come join us on OpenSanghaFoundation.org. If you haven't yet, go ahead and create an account. We're still in development, but we have some cool new features. We have groups you can join. We have forums for discussions. You can chat privately with one another. And there's all sorts of cool informational pages. We've been improving the Bhikkhuni page lately and our teachers pages. There's all sorts of many different resources that you can utilize. And you can also add your own content as well to these pages. So go check them out. And if you're interested in volunteering to help us with the website, let me know.
Thank you. All right. Any last words from anybody? Ben, you got any last words?
No last words. Have a great day.
All right.
To be continued.
Maybe.
Eric, you got any last words?
To be continued.
All right, guys. Thank you. We'll see you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dhammarato.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you.
for being here. Yeah, see
Thank
ya.
you much, Mike.
Thank you.
Dhammarato.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye bye.